Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
So, in a previous session, I said that one should meditate for some time right after they wake up. Yes, and I also mentioned about the Brahma Muhurat, which is from 4 to 4:45 in the morning. Now, we will talk a little about meditation today before we start on the real topic, which is God is not our idea of God. So, today we'll talk about meditation first a little. So, first thing is, why do we need to meditate? Like everybody, this meditation is very much in the air these days, and everybody is talking about meditation. But why do we meditate? What is the aim of meditation? Yes, Tejal Ben, tell me.
Actually, every day we are having a lot of things like bad thought, good thought. But during meditation, we want to connect like with soul, which normally we are. Super soul, that is Paramatma. So this can be achieved not in normal way. It can be some sort of meditation sort of.
And again, by connecting with God or by being soul conscious, what is the aim? Why do we want to be soul conscious at all? Or why do we want to connect with God? What is the ultimate aim?
To calm the mind.
To calm the mind. Okay.
Yes.
So people say meditation for peace.
Yes.
Now let me ask you one important question. What kind of peace are you looking for? Is it a peace, is it an experience of peace which lasts for 10 minutes? Is it an experience of peace which lasts for 2 hours? Or is it peace 24/7?
24/7.
24/7.
Eternal peace. Actually, our aim is to get the eternal peace.
Okay. So when we are looking for eternal peace, then we must understand that what is the cause for our peacelessness? Why do we feel the way we feel? We normally don't feel peaceful 24/7. So one has to understand, why is it we feel the way we feel? So is it because you are sitting in a wrong posture of the body that you feel peaceless? No.
Because we are not balanced? No.
Yes?
Because we are not balanced?
So is it about the body? This is what I'm asking. Is your peacelessness connected with your posture?
Thoughts.
It is about the thought. So first thing one has to understand is, meditation is not about the body. Okay, meditation is not about the body. It is about the mind. Because who is feeling peaceless? The mind is feeling peaceless. Now, why is the mind feeling peaceless? Because I am thinking in a manner which is giving rise to a feeling of peacelessness. Right? Now the question arises, why am I thinking the way I am thinking? Which is my thought a reflection of what's going on around me? Or is my thought a product of what's going on within me? Okay, so is it about my sanskar, my personality, or is it about my circumstances? What is it about? Is your thought, are you thinking the way you are thinking because of the circumstances you are in? Or are you thinking the way you are thinking because of the way you are within yourself? which has to do something with your buddhi and your personality. Combination of both. Now, one thing we have to understand is it is definitely nothing to do with what is outside. Because let me give you a very simple example. If you're 4 members in a family and each of the 4 members catches fever or cold, okay? Now, each of them reacts differently to this situation. Although it's not a very good example in these COVID times, but but whenever you catch a cold or have a fever, then each of us reacts differently. One would be jumping up and down like it's a very big deal, and one would be just silent. Okay, I'm not well, so let me take some rest and I'll be okay. So now the situation or the circumstance is the same for all 4 of them. But then how they are thinking and feeling is very, very different. So it is not about the situation. Had it been about the situation, then given a particular situation, every person would respond or behave in the same manner. So it has got everything to do with your sanskar and your buddhi. All right. So this is something that we have to have clarity about. Now, if the way I think is about my sanskar and my buddhi, then if I have to change the way I think and consequently change the way I feel, then what do I need to change actually? I need to change my sanskar and my buddhi. So I have to know something that I don't know right now, and I have to create tendencies of thinking or habits of thinking which I'm not used to creating right now, right? So one thing we have to understand is yoga is not yoga. Meditation is not yoga. Yoga is about the physical senses. Yoga is about the body. And this is not to say that yoga is not important. Yoga is very important, but it has its relevance for physical health, not for peace. Okay? Now, there are some people who tell you that when you are exercising or when you are doing yoga, then the body releases some good hormones, endorphins and other things, and then you feel good or you feel happy or peaceful. But I don't agree with that. I think it is more about what you are thinking while exercising than the exercise. So if it was about exercising, then everybody who is exercising a lot because of the current circumstances, because you have to do all the jhadu pocha at home, so then we would all be releasing endorphins and would be very happy. है ना? तो अभी तो क्योंकि हर एक को अपना काम करना पड़ रहा है, तो अगर ऐसा होता कि एक्सरसाइज से एंडोर्फिन्स रिलीज होते हैं, तो डेफिनेटली जब हम झाड़ू पोंछा लगाते तो हमारे को बहुत खुशी होती है, शांति होती. पर एवरी सेकेंड डे यू सी अ पोस्ट और एवरी डे यू सी अ पोस्ट अबाउट हाउ मिजरेबल लाइफ हैज़ बिकम. So it's not about what you are doing, but it's about how you're thinking while you're doing what you're doing. So if I am exercising and while getting into those changing the clothes that I need to wear while exercising and going for a walk, I'm creating thoughts that I'm healthy and I'm fit and fine, then obviously those thoughts will give rise to feelings where you feel fit and fine. But if you are creating a thought that my life is miserable and I'm being treated like a maid and I have to do all the household work and everybody is sitting and having a good time and they have appointed me to do all the work, so then this kind of an approach to your exercise will not make you feel happy. So the feelings that we experience is always about how we think. And how we think is about what we hold in our buddhi and our sanskar. And when we understand this phenomena, then we understand that the purpose of meditation is to hold something powerful in your mind, in your buddhi, and then let your mind experience it. When you hold a debilitating belief in your buddhi, suppose you hold a thought, I am not good enough. Okay, you are holding this thought in your buddhi. And when you hold this idea in your buddhi, your mind starts experiencing feelings associated with this idea. And then you don't feel good enough, right? Now, if you hold an idea that I am a very pure and peaceful soul, that I am just a point of light and a beautiful point of light, then what do you feel is consequently very peaceful and very relaxing. So what precisely we do in meditation is we hold a piece of truth in our buddhi. We hold a piece of truth in our buddhi and hold it enough and allow our mind to experience thoughts related to it, create thoughts and feelings related to it, and start experiencing the feel or the feelings associated with that true idea. Got it? So this is what you do in meditation. And then there is this mechanism whereby what we think for a long time becomes our thought pattern, and also what we think will come into action. So how we think will shape our attitude, will shape our behavior, and consequently we will create sanskars of thought, feeling, attitude and action based on this powerful information that we hold in the buddhi over a long period of time. So if we continue engaging in this practice over a long period of time, then we develop a sanskar which is different from the sanskars that we have right now. So meditation, the aim of meditation is sanskar parivartan. And God has told us that sanskar parivartan se sansar parivartan. Because if each of us changes our sanskar individually, then we have an influence on other people's sanskars also, because basically we have this tendency of copying, and if I change, then people around me copy, or I'm able to influence them directly or indirectly, and then slowly we create this energy whereby this new sanskar becomes the norm. And then this is actually what we mean by changing the world. So the motto of Brahma Kumaris is changing the world by changing ourselves. Okay, so this is a brief idea about meditation. And every day towards the end of the episode, what we do is a glimpse of this, right? So when you sit early in the morning, this is precisely what you have to do. Hold a piece of truth, which could be I'm a soul, I'm an indestructible soul, I'm a peaceful soul, I'm a beautiful soul, I'm a powerful soul, any of these ideas, and then create thoughts associated with it and feel them for as long as you can. Now, in the beginning, if you are not able to do it independently, then you can take the help of some meditation commentaries. I think one of them was shared with you over WhatsApp last evening. And if you want more of them, you can just Google on YouTube, you can write meditation commentaries on Soul by Brahma Kumaris, and you will get some of them, and you can play them and then try to align your thoughts with the commentary, just like you do at the end of the episode. So this is about what you need to do early in the morning. Now today we will talk a little more about God so that we can start connecting with God also. Now we were discussing the qualities of God, and up until now we have only connected with our idea of God. Now I asked you one more question in the beginning of the session, which is, if we believe that circumstances are responsible for how I feel, right? Then if I need to feel differently, then what will be my approach? My approach will be that somebody should come and change my circumstances. Because I think that circumstances are responsible for how I feel, so I will not be very interested in changing my sanskar. I will be interested in changing the sansar, right? So, because we did not know the truth, we did not know that we feel why we feel the way we feel because of the way we are, that is why we always thought that the job of God is to change my circumstances. Yes, because we thought God is Dukh Harta, Sukh Karta. See, the equation was very clear. We thought God is Dukh Harta, Sukh Karta, and I'm Dukhi because of my circumstances. So then if I have to be Sukhi, what God has to do is He has to move His magic wand and change my circumstances. And that is why what we did all this while is we kept calling to God and kept asking Him to have mercy and change my circumstances. Yes, but that is not what God does, because God knows the truth and He knows that you are not miserable because of your circumstances. Okay, so although we can't see it, He can see very clearly that we are not miserable because of our circumstances, we are miserable because of our sanskars. And until and unless we change our sanskars, even if the circumstances change, it will do us no good. Right? There is a very simplistic joke about Laluji telling Bush that Bush offering Laluji that if you give me Bihar for 3 months, I will change it into America, and then Laluji replying that if you hand over America to me for 1 month, I can change it into Bihar. So there was this joke during Bush administration, and it is a very simplistic way of putting how our sanskars can change our circumstances. So if I continue to have the same sanskars, even if I am put in a different circumstance, slowly, gradually, I will change my situation, my state of relationships in accordance to my sanskars. So even if God changes the situation, it won't do any good. I will give you an example. I had a brother who used to come to me, and then he said, I'm miserable because I don't have a job. Okay. So I told him, okay, what kind of a job do you want? So he said, I want to be in this particular company which is associated with tours and travels. And I have this fantasy that I should work for this company. And it's a very good company and it's my dream job. And I want this position in this company. Then I said, all right, if it is so and you have this desire that you want to be in that job, in that particular position, in that particular company, so you keep working for it and God willing, you will have it. So then sooner or later he got that job, and in the meantime we lost connect. So I didn't know what's going on in his life. And then after 7 to 8 months, he called me at 11 in the night. And then he was crying. And then he told me, "Sister, I am in a very bad place and you please help me." So I said, "I don't know what you have been doing for the last 6, 7 months. So you have to tell me what's been going on so that I can help you." So then he said, "Okay, let me start from the beginning. So why I stopped coming to you is because I found my dream job." So I said, "Oh, is it that same dream job?" He said, "Yes, and I found that job. I found that exact position I was looking for, and then I started being there. And so I relocated, and then I missed your number, and today I took it from the internet, and this and that." So I said, "All right, then what happened?" Then he said, "First 1, 2 months I was very happy because I was in a position and in a place I wanted to be in. But then I found that people here are the same as my family members. Just like my family members don't understand me, these people also don't understand me. And they also keep doing the same things which my family does to me, because of which I was very miserable." So I said, "What is it?" Then he said, "They don't accept me as I am. They keep criticizing me. I'm not rewarded as much as I think I should be. And all these things keep going on. And now I have decided to quit." So then I told him, "Okay, now that you have decided to quit, so I would just just give you one experiment which you conduct before quitting. So you give 1 month to this experiment and then you quit." So then he said, "Okay, what is it?" So I said, "See, in any case, these people don't understand you." So he said, "No, they don't." So I said, "When they don't understand you, then you are not related to them, because people who don't understand you, you don't have a sense of belonging with." So he said, "Yes." And then I said, "If you walk out of the company tomorrow, then you will not turn back and look at them for the rest of your life." Then he said, "Yes." Then I said, "Okay, so what you do is, for 1 month, you do this very thing. You be there and behave as if these people don't matter and don't exist for you, because you are going to leave the job anyway after 1 month." So he said, "No, but I don't want to do this." I said, "No, you try." So then after some days he called me and he said, "Sister, it's not a problem now that I'm not paying attention and I know that I'm going to leave them and they don't matter. Actually, there is no disturbance in the office and my work is going on very well." So he said, "I've decided not to quit." So now you see, nobody is a problem. That brother had a sanskar of paying attention to whatever everybody is doing and saying, because he thought that he is connected, and he used this word family for the office also, because he was craving for this acceptance and love from each one he met. And this was the problem. The problem was not in how they were. Got it? So now what we have to understand is, because we thought our problem is because of others, we kept praying to God to come and change our circumstances. But then now we understand that our problem is not outside, our problem lies in our sanskars and our belief systems. Right? So then what do God would be doing to heal us? Because God is Dukh Harta, Sukh Karta. So what does God do? Yes? What do you think God does when you have this piece of information that your problem is not outside, it is within you? So,
We get energy from God
yes.
to change ourselves and become more better at handling the situations, or in a way we think.
Yes. So God gives you primarily two things. One is knowledge. Yes. He tells you the truth. The truth which, when you hold in your buddhi, makes you very powerful. Okay. So he tells you the truth, because all this while what we thought the truth is not the truth. We thought I am a body, these are my people, I belong to them. That is not true. I am a soul, and everybody is a soul on a journey, and each one is a soul with a sanskar. This is the truth that God gives you. So, first is God gives you the truth. That is why God is known by several names. First is God is known as the ocean of knowledge, Gyan ka Sagar. Okay? Gyan ka Sagar. Then he is called Buddhivanu ki Buddhi. Then he is called restorer of conscience. Yes? So why is God called by all these names? Because this is exactly what he does. He gives you the knowledge. Yes? Now when we talk about knowledge, we in Hinduism we worship Saraswati Ma, and then we think that Saraswati Ma is associated with arts and music and culture and this and that. But actually, when we say Vidya ki Devi, yeah, we say God is knowledgeful, we don't mean God knows how what a perfect dance is, what a perfect music is, because that is perfection which will be exhibited in our action when we are perfect inside. Yes? So when the soul is perfect, everything that the soul does will be perfect. Now this is one connection you have to understand. You know, when there is this SSB, they kind of conduct a 1 week test, and they observe you in different aspects and in different situations. They give you psychological tests, and they put you into situations where you have to act, and that shows your decision making and your qualities and your virtues and everything. Now I know of a brother who appeared for this SSB, and before that he undertook a course which was a 1 week course somewhere in Delhi, and then when he went for that SSB he failed. So when I talked to that brother some time later, because he was in that state of shock because he failed, so only after some time I could talk to him, and I asked him, why do you think you failed? Because you knew everything, how to do it right. So they taught you how to sit, how to stand, how to talk, where to keep your hand while talking, and how to keep your face, and what to say, what are the right words to speak, what is the right answer to every question. So then why do you think you failed? So he said, because I was not what I was portraying to be. And when you are somebody, you don't need to portray anything, and it comes across. So what they are testing is who you are. And who you are comes across as what you do. Yes? So if I am perfect inside, then I will not need to learn how to keep my expressions, and where to keep my hand, and where to keep my body, because everything else will follow. Right? You will smile in the right places, you will pause in the right places, you will not talk more than necessary, you will use your body, your gestures in the right manner. So all that will follow when you are perfect inside. So it's not about training physically, it's about who you are inside. So when we talk about the arts and other things, they are an expression of inner beauty. So God doesn't teach us music and dance and this and that. God teaches us how to be beautiful within, how to be peaceful, loveful, pure within. And when we come to that place, then these things automatically follow. Yes. So when we say knowledgeful, when we say buddhivano ki buddhi, God doesn't give you the knowledge of the sciences that humans are capable of discovering, or God doesn't give you the knowledge of the arts that human beings are capable of manifesting in action. God precisely gives you the knowledge of that which is unavailable in this world, which is the knowledge of who you are, the knowledge of who you belong to, the knowledge of your original qualities. And then when you come to know about yourself through and through, and then you take power from God and come to your original self, then whatever you do will be perfect, and whatever you have will always be more than enough. Because again, there is law of attraction working. So if you are in high energy inside, then outside will follow. Yes. So this is what God does. God is knowledgeful. So he gives you the knowledge of how to be. He gives you the knowledge of how to be. Who are you? Who is He? How do you connect to Him and be who you actually are? And when you are who you actually are, then having and doing will follow, and there will be perfection in everything you do and everything you have. So this is what God does. God is knowledgeful. He gives us the knowledge of the truth, which helps us to get back to our power. And then when we say God is the ocean of love, so yesterday also we talked about love in detail, and then God never changes from being loveful to being judgmental or being withdrawn. God is always loveful, because that is what the soul needs. So whenever we are, however we are, if we go to God, all we receive is His unconditional love. And He's the ocean of love. So there's abundant love and unconditional love. And only when we know God in the correct manner, we will be able to connect with Him. Now let me give you a very simple example of the connection between knowledge and connecting with somebody. Now suppose before undertaking this course, you are fed with some information about me. Okay, suppose somebody tells you that that sister is not good, or she doesn't give good examples, or she's very boring in her presentation. Then when you connect to me, you will not be able to see who I am, because already your mindset will be colored by your idea of me. Do you get it? So that's why you will not be able to connect with me. And this is precisely what happened with our connection with God, because we didn't know God and we got an idea of God which was not God-like. And we got an idea that God punishes, God gets affected if we do something wrong, God is judgmental, and then He will be annoyed with you and He will be unhappy with you. And when we got these kinds of ideas, then what we did is we only went to God when we were in good mood. And we didn't go to God when we were miserable. Yes, or when we were miserable, we thought it is because of the other person or the other circumstance, and we went to God to say that you correct that circumstance. We never went to God when we wanted to correct ourselves, because we thought God would have lost faith in us. So now that we understand God is the ocean of love and I am His very dear child, and I can go to God wherever I am, however I am. And I am repeating this so many times, because when I came to God, this is the quality of God that I was most missing. And if I look back at everybody's life and also my life, I feel that there is nobody who can handle you, as in you as you are. Nobody can deal with your whole inner space. Like there is so much of guilt, there is shame, there is regret, there are complexes, there is ego, there is so much of stuff going on inside, that we are constantly trying to look good and appear good in front of people. And then in doing so, we are again, shelving all that dirt and filth inside, and until it is growing into a stench and it is disturbing us very much. And that is why nowadays we don't even sit with ourselves for 10 minutes, because it's very disturbing, because all the noise that is there within us is not of very peaceful or soothing nature. So when I came to God, it was very comforting to know that I can be myself before God. And I could open my wounds and I didn't have to put a cover on it. And I could be myself and be before God and draw His light into those wounds and give myself the time to heal myself, rather than just be engaged in looking good every now and every then. Yes, so this is the biggest quality of God that we understand, which is He is the comforter of hearts, He is the ocean of love. He never judges you, He never misunderstands you, because He knows you more than you do. Because we only remember part of our journey, but God remembers everything that we have been through. So He knows why we are the way we are. And if you know the why, you never ask why. So He never asks us why we are the way we are. All He does is He helps us to get back to our original state. So God is the ocean of love, God is the ocean of knowledge, God is the ocean of peace. So once you are with the ocean of peace, your mind grows silent. And then you are just colored by the peace of God. And then when you remember Him as the ocean of peace, then you come back to your peaceful self. And then He is the ocean of purity, or Patit Pavan. We call God Patit Pavan. Why Patit Pavan? Because just like, if you drop a piece of rusted iron in kerosene, then what happens is you don't have to do anything. The rust just comes out and the iron gets clean. Similarly, if I just go to God and keep my connection with Him on, then everything that's disturbing and miserable inside me starts to clean up. And that is why He's called the purifier, or the ocean of purity, or Patit Pavan, because God has that quality. Okay, so these are some of the qualities of God: ocean of knowledge, ocean of purity, ocean of love, ocean of peace. He is called the Almighty because He gives you all the might that you need to change your sanskars. So He is not Almighty because He changes a circumstance. He is Almighty because He gives you the might to change your sanskars. Okay, so this is the quality of God. And then about the occupation of God, we did it slightly. That is, He doesn't change the circumstance, He changes, He helps us to change ourselves. Now we will understand this with a simple example. See, if this is supposed to be the situation, and this is you, and here there is God, right? So, up until now, we thought I and the situation will stay together, and I will keep calling to God, and that God will come and change the situation, right? But now God tells you a different method. He says, this is the situation, this is you. You have to disconnect from the situation, come to me, take power, go to the situation, treat it. Got it? If you stay with the situation and keep calling out to me, I can't come and change the situation, because the situation is your creation. Is it not your creation? It is your creation. So I can't change the situation. What I can do is, if you leave the situation, come to me, I will empower you. You come back and change the situation. Got it? I will give you a very simple example. A lady came to me and said that my family members don't love me. So I told her, why is it so? So she said that, see, when I got married, I was working. And these people told me that you should leave the job because we don't want you to have a job after marriage. So I left the job. And after I left the job, I felt that I made a mistake because I was financially dependent and this and that, and I didn't like that. And then 4 years later, my brother-in-law got married. And when my brother-in-law got married, his wife was into a job and they didn't ask her to leave the job. Okay, so then she always had an upper hand because of the job, and she was more listened to and she was more respected and accepted in the family, and I was not treated well. But I kept, day in and day out, I kept asking myself that what mistake did I do? I did nothing. When they asked me to leave the job, I left the job. And because they didn't want, I didn't do the job. Now they are not treating me well because of the job. So now we don't have a good relationship. Now I asked her, do you want to have good relationships? So she said, yes, because I'm getting older, and as I'm getting older, it is very disturbing to know that you don't have good relationships and you don't share a cordial relationship with people around you, and it is disturbing me. So then I told her that you have created this situation. Then she said, no, but I have not created this situation. They have created this situation. So now you have to understand that when they asked you to leave the job, that is where you had to take a decision. Yes, it was your job, it was your life, but you took a decision to leave the job. Now you might say that this decision was prodded by or brought about by them. But every person is responsible for the choices they make, even if those choices are made at gunpoint. Do you get it? The karma theory doesn't differentiate between you doing some karma because somebody told you and you doing some karma because you feel like doing it. When you do some karma, then you are responsible for its consequences. Okay? Now, because she didn't get this thing, that's why she kept thinking that what I did was because of them. And they should take ownership of what I did. But that's not how it works. Now, if I felt that at that point that was the right thing to do, I should have taken ownership of it, which is, if I felt I was not treated well, I should have attempted to keep my feelings and thought processes clean despite that. And if I didn't do that, what I have done is, I have created negative thoughts and feelings for over 20 years of my life. And when you create negative thoughts and feelings, that is your karma. We discussed this in the last class. Do you remember? Karam Yogi. So if you radiate negative energy while doing work, while keeping your family intact, then this will create circumstances which will not be favorable for you. So when we understand this whole karma theory, then you have to understand that now that you have created a huge force of negative thoughts, because of the belief systems you had, now you have to create an equally strong force of positive and loveful and accepting thoughts for the coming maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years, despite they being the way they are, so that this force gets offset. And how do you do that? by taking power from God. Okay, so every time you are in a situation which is unfavorable, what you do is you disconnect your mind from your present circumstance, take your mind to God, fill yourself with power, and then come and radiate peaceful and loveful energy here. And only when you do this, you will offset all the negative force of the karma you have created in your last years. So this is how it works. God can't come and solve my situation because my situation is my creation. It is a product of how I have thought, spoken and acted in the last years or births or whatever. And then because these are unfavorable and I keep clinging to this, what do? I do exactly the opposite, which is I keep adding to the negativity. This is what we do. We keep adding to the negativity. So what God does is, first you detach from this. How do you detach from this? Creating soul consciousness. We are doing this for the last 6-7 days, creating soul consciousness that I am not this situation, I am not the body which is experiencing pain, I am not the relationship, I am the soul and I am peaceful. And then taking your mind to God. How do you take your mind to God? Just like you take your mind to everybody. For example, can you see the COVID patients you are thinking about all day? You don't see them, right? They are not in front of your eyes. What you do is you take your mind to them. Yes, you take your mind to them and then your mind starts being connected with their pain. And then you start feeling the pain and the fear and the insecurity that you feel. Yes? So just like you know this is information that there is a COVID patient out there. Similarly, now you know there is God. So just like you are made aware that there are several COVID patients out there and you can take your mind to them, you can take your mind to God because now you know God is also there. And He is radiating love and purity and peace to you. And when you take your mind to God and create and become and acknowledge His presence, just like you acknowledge the presence of problems in the world, which you are not seeing in and around you. It could be that you are sitting in a very silent place full of positive energy, but you take your mind to the problems of the world. Similarly, you have to keep in your awareness that just like there are 10 million events happening in this world, there is also God who is radiating love, peace and purity to you at this point. And when you disconnect from every other thought and just become aware that God, a point of light, is showering His rays of peace and love on me right now, and for a few seconds let me just feel that and not take my mind to anything else that's going on around me, then you become connected with God and you start feeling Him. Is it easy to take your mind to God? Yes? Is it easy? Just like you can take your mind to everything else, similarly you can take your mind to God, and it is all happening on the basis of knowledge. Just like everything else is happening on the basis of information, this is happening on the basis of knowledge. Right? So if you can be miserable while sitting in your drawing room watching TV or doing nothing, you can be peaceful sitting in your drawing room watching TV or doing nothing. It is as simple as that, because our peace is connected, or our peacelessness is connected to where we are taking our mind. Right? Yes? It is as simple as that. It is just that you have trained yourself to think about COVID patients. It took you some training, did it? It took you 20 days to start thinking about them. Do you remember that? At first, you were not thinking about them. Now you can't get them out of your mind. So, in the first 20 days, you were trained to think about them. And now you're being trained to think about God. And if you take to this training, then you will start thinking about God. And then you will start experiencing His presence. And the love and peace and purity that that experience brings with itself. Just like you are experiencing the fear and insecurity and the peacelessness that that thought is bringing with itself. It is as simple as that. Yes, but the thing is, God is a point of light. And there is a rule which says, Smriti का connection स्थिति से है. That is, you remember as you are. Okay? So in my mind, when I become a daughter, I remember my mother. In my mind, when I tune into a wife, I remember the husband. When I tune into being a mother, I remember the child. Can you see the switch on, switch off that we do all day? Yes? So internally, when you switch on your consciousness, you get tuned into somebody depending on the relationship you share with them. So when in my inner consciousness I become a mother, I remember the child. In my inner consciousness, when I become a wife, I remember the husband. When I become a daughter, I remember the mother. So when I become an employee, I think of the boss. Even if my children are around playing, what will I think? I will think about the boss and the work in the office, because now my consciousness is that of an employee. So when you want to remember God, you have to tune into being a soul. Yes, so as soon as you tune into this place that I am a soul and I am a being of light and God is my everything, I have all my relations with God, and that God is giving me, radiating me, filling my apron with lot of love, peace and purity, then you start getting connected with God. Okay, so when you think of yourself as a soul, you remember God. When you think of yourself in a body conscious way, you think of people, you remember people. All right, so let us practice this for some minutes. And in this practice, what you have to do is, when you think about awareness or acknowledging the presence of God, you have to create an image, because God is not visible. So you have to know that He is a point of light, radiating streams and beams and waves of peace and love to you. And those waves are reaching you and you are sitting under that flow and then feeling it. And you, the soul here, is absorbing all the radiation that's coming from God, from the world above. So I will give you a commentary and you try to create an image and an experience in accordance with the commentary. Yes. Yes, Poonam Ben, are you asking something? Yes, tell me. हाँ जी, आवाज़ नहीं आ रही आपकी, उसको ऑन करिए, अनम्यूट करिए. No, I can't still hear you. Wait, let me try from here. हाँ जी, अभी बोलिए. मैं अभी भी आपको नहीं सुन पा रही हूँ. आपके ईयरफोन में कोई प्रॉब्लम? कोई नहीं, आप व्हाट्सएप पे बात कर लीजिएगा, ठीक है? ओके ओके, चलिए, लेट्स मेडिटेट फॉर अ फ्यू सेकेंड्स. My body is relaxed. I slowly unplug from all the thoughts that are there on my mind, and come to the awareness that I am a soul situated in the center of the forehead. I am a point of divine light. This is a world of matter, and I am not matter. I am a pure soul, distinct from the matter around me. I am the child of God, sent to this earth to play a role. And I got so busy that I never took time to remember the one who I actually belong to. While he kept looking at me always. In this moment of awareness of who I am, I can feel the presence of that one, my Supreme Parent, Parampita Paramatma. His energy of love is reaching me in the form of subtle waves. I feel the waves of love reaching me from the world above. These waves of love embrace me, and I feel that I, the soul, am sitting in the lap of God. The energy of God, the love of God, embracing me from all sides. In this experience of His embrace, when I am sheltered by His love from all sides, I feel very secure, very protected and nurtured. Let me spend a few minutes in His embrace. I am in the lap of the ocean of love. Om Shanti.